But who, Pat?
I think I'm up. So, being mindful is part of this, and I have a quote. I mean, I want to talk about the paradox of mindfulness and whether or not you guys consider. I feel like being mindless and being mindful almost have the same net result, because I was reading a Psychology Today article all about how to be mindful. And toward the end of the article, they're talking about avoiding being mindless. And to read from the article here, they describe, we become mindless because once we think we know something, we stop paying attention to it. We go about our morning commute in a haze because we've trod the same route 100 times before. This ties into evolutionary traits that they've noticed, right? Like your senses notice change. Your nose especially doesn't keep bugging you with the same noxious odor. It identifies the noxious odor, and then your brain turns that off so that you can focus on other stuff. Being mindful, I mean, the article goes on to say, like, you want to notice the things about your commute. Noticing imbues each moment with a new, fresh quality. Some people have termed this beginner's mind. It's like, imagine, won't you be so much happier if you're open to everything that can happen in every given moment and you live mindfully in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
But the paradox of mindfulness is, to be in the moment, you can never be thinking about the future, and you're not supposed to be thinking about the things that mindfulness is going to bring you, including happiness. Because whenever you think about anything, including happiness, you're not your thoughts. A lot of psychologists and a lot of people believe you're imagining something that's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So mindlessness is, I think, a way of protecting ourselves from the problem that can come, that I experience when I try and be mindful sometimes, which is that when you calm yourself right down and you go, okay, just live in the moment, just breathe, then my brain starts going, you got to do this, 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 you got to do this. And like what was supposed to be an exercise in relaxation suddenly becomes an exercise in anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So being mindless and just forgetting and just going through my days as a zombie.
You've been reading some Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah.
So which path do I want to follow?
Oh,
or is there some?
Personally, I've been practicing mindfulness meditation for the last 5-6 months.
Is it making a big difference?
I find it makes a difference I have a lot of anxiety. So to me, what it does is it stops me from reacting right away. It gets rid of that impulsiveness to be scared of something. It gives me a chance to, like, I don't consider it going blank. I consider it, going to low power and really trying to bring that one thing that you need to focus on into the forefront so that you can give it your full attention.
And that's sort of the idea of meditation too, right? Is that you become an observer of your thoughts and not a possessed by your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So like the idea being that like instead of reacting in the moment to every thought you have, it's seeing those thoughts come by and reacting to the ones you need to react to and not letting them rule you in that moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're suddenly taken with rage, as I am sometimes want to do, when I'm practicing mindfulness, I see that rage, I accept it, I see the root of it, I know where it's coming from, and I let that pass through me, fully accepting that I was angry. It's not like I wasn't angry, but I wasn't acting immediately on that anger.
Mm-hmm. You're able to put it into perspective where that anger is rooted.
Mm-hmm. So instead of not being like, I don't feel rage, it's I feel rage, but I feel rage. Like the rage isn't me. I feel it, I accept it, I see where it's coming from, and then I deal with that.
Yeah.
Instead of, so you're still dealing with it, but not owning it in that moment and letting it own you.
Not letting your rage control you.
Yeah.
You just recognize. Yeah.
Which is one of the goals for sure. I guess it really is that obvious that I was reading Power Now, huh?
Yeah.
Gosh dang.
But I think what you're saying is absolutely, like, it's one of the big problems with sort of just, dawdling into meditation, which is what I've done. I have had no guidance. I've tried a million times and not found the answer to make it work for me.
I fell backwards into it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't ever think. I thought, what a waste of your time. Why would I waste 20 minutes every day? But
For me,
more
like
that I try
yoga,
and do
I love yoga. I get like a full weekend's worth of rest out of an hour yoga class on Monday with Eric. Like, it's like hitting the reset button, kind of, for me. Yeah.
Power saver mode.
Yeah.
Low power mode.
Yeah.
Low power mode. I like that. That's actually a great way of looking at it. Is like you're not using up all your RAM on every single thing that crosses into your consciousness. You're instead just sort of like you're letting some of it you're turning off some of the programs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Or you're auditing your processes.
Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll learn that we all are robots, actually, and that's.
I actually had that
Wow.
that thought the other day
Yeah.
as someone was talking about why can't I not remember Tesla guy's name anymore?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Can I just call him Tesla guy from now on?
Just remember how.
I'll just call him
started-
Nikolai
he started
Call
Tesla.
him Hank
PayPal.
Scorpio.
Yeah.
Hank Scorpio. He's totally Hank Scorpio. Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Simpsons did it.
I'm just. What's the part where he has the jacket on backwards? Because that's the image I have of Hank Scorpio every
Here,
time.
hang this up on the wall.
Did you know that the Iron Man character is based off of Elon Musk?
Like that? You mean
the,
like
the
that?
Avenger?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
like he modeled that character like as a performance. You mean right? Like,
Yeah, you know how like Johnny Depp was copied Keith Richards kind of
Yeah.
and took his mannerisms for Pirates of the Caribbean. That's Iron Man to Elon
Yeah,
Musk.
that's
Cool.
so funny
Yeah.
that he was like, "Who's a real life Tony Stark?" And then he was like, "That works."
Yeah.
Yeah.
About as close as you can get.
A good friend of
So-
mine said to me last night, and I actually think he's right. This is more likely. It's not going to actually be technology catching up to biology necessarily. It's going to be us learning how to adjust biology in such a way that we can essentially build a human brain the way they do in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Where it's not going to be about building an artificial construct. It's going to be about growing something artificially that we can somehow affect its behavior, which to me it's the same problem in the end. It's like, how do I treat that thing that's not quite, is it property or does it have unalienable rights, like I said?
Did we come to a conclusion about your topic?
I was about to say I feel like there's a lot of untread
think I
ground
can
go
there.
down
think
a
I
lot of
even
bunny
had a-
trails.
I
We
don't
do
think I
have
even
we still
had a
have a couple
question.
minutes, and I think like pitfalls of like mindfulness
Well,
and
I did want to talk about that
healthy
paradox.
practice. There's a lot of them. They're like
So that
like-
whole idea of like I'm supposed to be. So yeah, sometimes to me mindfulness feels a lot like mindlessness.
And that's I think the problem is that like most of us don't have any sort of guru or guidance when we do this stuff, and not like not that it's necessary, but if you don't know what you're doing, for example, there's people capitalizing on the fact that people don't know anything about meditation under for example, the David Lynch Foundation. To bring David Lynch back into this, he's a big proponent of what's that school of meditation? Transcendental meditation, same school that like Russell Brand and Jerry Seinfeld and a lot of these like these Hollywood types are really into. And basically, transcendental meditation, if you look into it, because I did, because I was curious, is just the same as any other meditation, but you have to go and learn it from a guru. And it's like a weekend class, and they give you your own personal mantra that's just a made-up word. But otherwise, it's just meditation, but with a mantra. You just repeat the mantra, the one that they've chosen specifically for you, that only is for you, and you're the only one with this mantra. And it's a big load of hooey. It's a way of, like, you have to pay this like $700, and basically they just teach you how to meditate for a weekend. Just like any other meditation school that you would be taught in, like, but they charge a premium, and so you can have your mantra, and it's the one that all the stars are.
So
into.
people are going in there buying the idea of what would you say that they're buying the idea of like having a peaceful, like being Zen. They think they can purchase that.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
They
also
don't wanna have
I
to
kind of skated over the fact
practice
that
it.
it was
Yeah.
Maharishi, the guy who was like the guru for the Beatles. Like it's that guy was the one who created this school of transcendental meditation and was pretty much seen as a snake oil salesman at the time. And like so it kind of brings like that pitfall of like some people, like it brings them to meditation. They spend that $1,200 for the one weekend class, and they meditate for the rest of their lives. And it makes them better people. Jerry Seinfeld is like, that's his school of meditation. Meditates every day, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. Like, And he says it made him who he is. Like, he wouldn't be Jerry Seinfeld if it weren't for transcendental meditation. Russell Brand too, and he has had a huge spiritual change. If you've kept
Russell
up with
Brand's awesome. I love the what do they call it? The news,
the truths.
Truths, yeah.
Yeah, go if you're already on YouTube, go check out the truths.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
But not until you watch all of our podcasts.
Watch the rest of all of our videos, and then go watch it. Not the band. Not the band.
No,
I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Canadian band.
Different thing.
Yeah. Good as far as Canadian bands go.
And I think it's spelled. No, it couldn't be spelled the same way because the Trues is spelled like TR and then news like EWS.
Yeah.
Stop endorsing other properties and only endorse our intellectual property.
All I can do. My entire lexicon of information and ideas and words is built on just borrowing from other people.
Go figure. They're all made up.
No, everything's a remix.
I don't think the fact that you had to pay for it is necessarily detracts from the value of getting people into meditation. Well, I mean, anything can be a Ponzi scheme if you market it the right way, or I guess if you sell it the right way and you really want to.
But they have like
money and run.
Now go watch some of their videos though about transcendental meditation where they show like these flowcharts where like it's proven that transcendental meditation is this giant amount of like this will change your life and do all of these amazing benefits, and no other form of meditation can do that for you.
They have infomercials for it.
Basically, with doctors that that meditate and are of that school, and that they've got statistics, and anyone knows that statistics lie. Or hopefully you know that. If you don't, go read books.
Maybe they're the same doctors, the Colgate doctors.
Yeah, it's the same guys.
Stats are a funny thing because, you can really... apparently the big thing in surveys now is rather than ask you questions, they'll ask you to pick statements that you agree with. And that's crazy. And they'll do that in different sample groups. But then they'll sneak in the question or the statement that reflects the question that they're really interested in, and then apparently you can still never really know if an individual correctly addressed the statement. Like, say you're interested in somebody's preference in what kind of automobile they're going to buy, so you slip in some statements about like, I enjoy owning a truck. So you never know if the actual person who answered truthfully. But I guess by having sample questionnaires where they don't ask the questions they're actually interested in, and then they compare them to samples where they do ask where they slip in the statement that reflects the question they're interested in, they can look at the statistical variance and get an idea of how much of the sample population actually does want to own a truck. And I don't understand the math behind it, but it's just like
there's a lot of voodoo you can do using economic ideas that just happens to work for some reason. Like humans, our math, like unfortunately we do fall into that computer that can predict whether you're going to commit suicide is calculating something. But at the same time, you can use those statistics to make everyone feel like they should be fitting into a box that they don't fit into, because math applies to humans on the whole, but a lot of times it does not apply to individuals. Just because you're statistically likely to die of smoking or die of things related to smoking does not mean that there aren't 100-year-old people who are smoking a pack a day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So statistics lie, unfortunately.
All I can think about now is how JD Power and Associates is basically a freaking lobby group that truck companies made up to give themselves awards for their trucks.
Now, my phone died, so I don't know where we're at, but I know we were at 10 minutes last time I checked. So
next topic.
But I think it's worth saying before we move on that we're not saying that meditation is bad for you, obviously. It's just...
Go buy a truck.
Yeah, go buy a truck and call up David Lynch and go do some transcendental meditation.
I don't even know who David Lynch is. I really need to start watching some movies if I want to keep up here.
You've seen something of his, guaranteed.
Okay.
That guy, of course.
If not, you've seen his art or just pictures of him in places. But anyway.